to ask this question because they were so good last year, but Kat, did they get better in the offseason?
They did. Honestly, offensively, they added tools. You have Jasmine Burns, you have Mia Williams, you have Taylor Pannell. You know, they retooled and they added some offense, but I think the biggest piece is adding Caitlin Terry. Caitlin Terry is a second arm, a left-handed arm, to now go in tandem with Nigeri Kennedy. And so Kennedy is going to have viable backup on top of Sam Lincoln returning, Chloe Riasetto, who is the senior with experience that came over with Jerry from Louisiana. So they added some necessary pieces in the circle and offensively for them to really be hard to beat, in my opinion, here in the Big 12.
Well, and depending on which publication you look at, Texas Tech, not surprisingly, preseason #1 or #2. So maybe the bigger question is, with everyone chasing Texas Tech, Rachel, what's the race for second place like in the Big 12 when you consider Arizona, Oklahoma State, and Arizona State?
Yeah, those are going to be some really competitive matchups throughout the season. I think Oklahoma State had a lot of high expectations last year, didn't quite meet those expectations, and unfortunately we're not going to be seeing the Oklahoma State versus Texas Tech in the Big 12 season this year, which is a little unfortunate for me. I thought that would have been a great matchup, but Arizona State, both bringing in some new pitchers. Kenzie Brown, obviously for Arizona State, they're going to have solid pitching. Arizona, we know, is an offensive powerhouse, so honestly I could make a case for any of the three of them to compete very well with Texas Tech in the conference.
Let's have a look at the preseason all Big 12 team, and it is star-studded to say the least. We'll start at the top and do this in alphabetical order, beginning with Reagan Shockey and Sydney Stewart of Arizona. We'll hear from them in just a moment. Kenzie Brown, Tanya Wendell representing the Sun Devils, Brooklyn Carter at Baylor, then BYU with the duo of Elovea Brittingham and Lily Owens. Isabella Vega representing the Knights of UCF, Jesse Clemens, the utility from Iowa State. Then we flip it to the back half of the page. Rosie Davis, Ruby Malin from Oklahoma State. And then you see 7 Red Raiders from Texas Tech. Kept 7 on the preseason all Big 12 team.
Yeah, we knew they were, Jerry Glasgow was going to put up his entire lineup because he thinks they are all the best in the Big 12. And don't get me wrong, talent-wise, they are stacked. But yeah, Lauren Allred, who was at first last year, as we mentioned, Jasmine Burns comes in from Ohio State, Nigeri Kennedy. Texas Tech is loaded.
Maya Davis, Alana Johnson, Taylor Pannell, Caitlin Terry. It just goes, the list is lengthy for good reason. And expectations, have they ever been this high in Lubbock?
I don't think so. I can honestly say, other than last year when they brought in Nigeri Kennedy, you know, the $1 million arm, obviously all eyes turned to Lubbock, Texas. But now Jerry Glasgow has added to that roster with not just some talent, with elite talent, and 4, 5, 6 of them, to where now all eyes are staring at Texas Tech and saying, show us what you got.
So when we dig into the Red Raiders, is there any sort of weakness that you perceive on the team? And it might be impossible to spot, but like if there is a question mark, where would that lie with the Red Raiders?
I think for me, when you think about team chemistry and team culture and, you know, bringing in transfers that are very talented is one aspect, but another aspect is bringing them into the team culture, setting the standards for Texas Tech, making them feel like they can play free and be themselves. And I think that's a little bit of an underrated aspect of bringing in transfers. Like, yes, you look and they have the talent, but the team chemistry and the way these players work together is also a very important piece.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Part of the NIL era and the changing landscape of collegiate sports, this is a loaded question for you, Kat. Do you feel like this NIL situation for a school like Texas Tech, specifically in the Big 12 Conference, is a good thing for the sport?
Well, I think so, because female athletes are now being able to be paid what they're worth for the most part. And some, obviously, like any sport, are getting to be astronomical numbers that even when you leave in pro ball and it goes in any sport, you don't necessarily match that. But for the 4 years in college, they're able to have a worth and be able to play on that worth. And so I think it's a good thing. And I think, you know, we see Texas Tech, they hadn't been to a World Series ever until last year. And so Jerry Glasgow was able, because of NIL, to now cultivate excitement in Lubbock. And other teams are going to be able to start bringing in kids that maybe they didn't have a chance without NIL and recruiting. And part of me is like, well, if you can't recruit them to begin with, why, but hey, if you can pay a kid what they're worth and then they can come and experience your campus and then all of a sudden they have a different experience, a great experience, then now you're selling your brand and your brand's getting out there. So to me, it's branding. It's being able to find the athletes that fit, but bring them in. They get their money, but at the same time, you get to brand your organization, your school, your program, and it's a win for everyone.
The Big 12 has been branded as a different league, and it feels like it.